Hello guys, now that it's officially the spring and the weather is just starting to warm up here where we are, I thought this was a perfect time to show you a recap of our entire backyard renovation. Over the past few years, we've transformed both the inside and the outside of our house into different pretty and practical spaces. Because we normally have these makeovers completed by the end of summer, I thought I would compile a video showing you how we designed and DIY'd our entire yard, which includes a concrete patio with seating, a secret garden with a cobblestone path, DIY garden beds, a garden swing, and so much more. Just in case you need some inspiration for an outdoor project you want to tackle while the weather is still nice in the spring. I also wanted to thank all of you for sticking around and helping my channel reach 50,000 subscribers. This is such a big achievement for my channel and my career, and I really want to properly thank you by hosting a giveaway during today's video. I'll be giving out multiple different gift cards of high value to several winners that enter, and all of the giveaway details will be announced at the end of this video, so be sure to stay tuned. We put up this DIY canopy shade for under $100 using two 4x4 wood posts. These posts were 10 feet in length. We dug a hole in the grass up against the existing concrete patio. This hole was about 1.5 foot deep, which I will say lots of you were quick to call me out and say that that is not a deep enough hole and they won't hold up. Most of the suggestions I see are at least 3 feet deep. Well, we didn't know that at the time, but I will also say that 3 years later, the posts are still in and have yet to blow over, even through the tough Colorado winters. To mount the canopy shade, we used this bracket kit from Amazon, and it came with everything you need to hang a canopy shade like this. We added an extra string for any extra length needed for the shade and hooked 2 of the sides to the house and the other 2 brackets on top of our 4x4 wood posts. We also used these brackets to hang up the string lights too. We wanted to give the poles a little bit more interest, so we cut some holes out of these plastic planters from Walmart and slid them over the top of the poles. Then I just added rocks for drainage at the bottom, some soil on top, and then we planted some pretty flowers in it to decorate it a little bit. I'm gonna start power washing the concrete and our outdoor rug. We just got this power washer from Lowe's and we are so obsessed. It is so cool. It cleans using a really intense water pressure and it makes the process so fast and just so easy, and it's so satisfying too. This one is smaller and easy to carry around, which I really appreciate. It's also pretty affordable compared to others and works just as well in my opinion. Honestly, I just didn't realize how dirty everything was until I started using this guy. I got all the dirt out of our woven rug instantly and it just made it look brand new. I was shocked. It was so satisfying to watch. I wish we got this thing years ago because it did the job so quick, so easy, and it was so fun to do, honestly. Now let's head over to Walmart to check out what they have in their garden section. I'm looking for some smaller plants to fill the planter boxes and window boxes, and some larger ones to act as accent pieces on the patio. I'm looking for lots of color and 2 of each plant so we can make all the boxes somewhat symmetrical and cohesive with one another. Time to start planting. Starting with the window boxes, I'm using all the soil from last year and just using a pitchfork to break it up so it's less clumpy and much easier to drain. Once I plant the plant, I pack the soil down and add even more fresh potting soil to the top to fill in any extra space. I'm planting a variety of colors in each box and using the same pattern in both window boxes so it looks all put together and somewhat symmetrical.
Nobody's losing.
Moving on to these post planter boxes, I'm using the same technique as before, just breaking up the soil really well before planting and then adding some fresh soil on top. Time to put up the string lights. These are from Amazon and they're solar powered, so they turn on automatically every night when the sun goes down. It's nice because you don't have to worry about changing the batteries or turning the lights on and off. We're doing a different layout with these lights than last year just to change it up a little bit, and also this time we got an even longer length of lights, so we needed to make a pattern that would fit perfectly for all the lights. So we're just going to put it in a zigzag pattern across the canopy, and to hide the cord from hanging down the side of our house, we just strung it back towards the pole and screwed it into the side of the pole where it would be the most hidden and also where it would get the most sun. To save on costs, we're using the same patio set from last year. The cushions on these guys have definitely faded, but that's probably our fault, to be honest. Like I said, we didn't put anything in our garage during the heavy winter, and we actually didn't even cover up these chairs and this couch, so all of this stuff has definitely been through a lot. But I mean, considering that, I still feel like this patio set has held up pretty well. Love the rope detail on it. It is a black color. It kind of looks a little bluish gray now, but it's supposed to be a black rope color, and it's still in really good condition, still very usable, so that's why we're using it again this year, of course. Close your eyes. I'm using this large cream planter I got from my local grocery store to plant this boxwood hedge. I love these plants. This one was like $30 from Walmart, and they are so big and they just bring so much life and greenery with just using this one plant. This is a great piece to add some height, and it would be great to pair with some other smaller plants. I played around with the placement of this guy, but ultimately I decided to place it in the back corner and pair it with a smaller planter to anchor it all together. But I'm right here, it's gonna be okay. Another thing we're using again this year is our propane fire pit. I love the concrete organic look of this guy, and it honestly just looks super high-end in my opinion. It is definitely a dupe for a more expensive designer version, except considering the size and everything it comes with, this fire pit is super affordable. This is yet another thing that I'm pretty impressed held up for so long. We kept this outside all winter long, and there are barely any chips or scratches. This has held up so well. I love how it can be used as a coffee table when the top's on it, or a fire pit, of course, when it's actually in use. We are out here every night with this thing on. It is absolutely worth the investment and totally elevates not only the look, but the cozy atmosphere of your space. It wasn't fair. It's over now. I'm planting this lavender topiary into this large black pot. This pot is from Walmart. I got this last year, and it has stayed out here all year long and is still going strong. So I would say this is a pretty good quality planter. I'm placing this guy on top of our propane tank holder. This actually came with the concrete fire pit, so super convenient, but we're also gonna double it as a side table. We're gonna be okay. Fall down, it's gonna be okay. The sun could go out, we're gonna be okay. If all the blue skies fade to gray, we're gonna be okay. The world could fall down, it's gonna be okay. The patio is finished for now. Actually, one of the reasons why I'm showing you this makeover now is because in just a few weeks, this space is going to look very different. We will be transforming this space into a multifunctional patio with both a dining and a living area. This is probably the last time you'll see this area looking like this, so it's nice to take it all in and enjoy the space we've made it into for now. The brand new patio makeover video will be coming in just a few weeks, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. But now we're gonna move on to making over the rest of our backyard. Patio actually inspired us to take the gardening a step further in our yard, so we built an 8x8 foot garden bed on the side of our yard where all the mulch is. This was very easy. We just simply made a box with some 1x12 wood boards and we screwed them together on each side. We also added trim with a beveled corner for a seamless look on top, and why wouldn't just do a beveled edge for all the sides? I don't know. If we were to do this today, that's exactly what we would do. This was definitely the easiest way to do it because you don't have to do any intricate cuts, and this honestly worked just fine for us. We also put some extra boards on the bottom in the middle to keep everything sturdy and in place, and I also made sure to put a thick coat of weather sealant on top to protect the wood from any rotting over time.
We moved into this new build house a few years ago. This yard looked nothing more than a pile of dirt. We actually lived like that for the first year, but year 2 is when we brought in landscapers and turned the dirt into mostly grass. We also added a few trees and bushes here and there for some added vegetation, but it was mostly just grass. Well, here we are in the 3rd year in our home, and we're realizing that maybe putting 1,200 square feet of grass wasn't the most practical idea for our family. We have 2 dogs who like to claim the entire yard as their own, which is fine for us, but not so much our grass. We do like having grass for our kids and animals to run around and play on, but we may have been a little in over our heads with the huge amount of square footage that we got, and honestly, we just can't keep up with it all. So today, we're breaking up the yard by adding in a garden shed, and a cobblestone walking path that trails through the whole yard, making it easy to access all the growing foods in our garden as well as any extra supplies we'll need to store in the shed. Eventually, I pictured tons of bushes and flowers and big oak trees surrounding this path, maybe a few arched trellises and a cute garden swing, and we will get there and make it our secret garden eventually, one day. But today, we're gonna focus on making our path, building our shed, and we're gonna start planting our seeds and gardening because we have to start somewhere. First things first, we're gonna set up our new garden shed. This is gonna be the anchor for our path and raised garden beds. This shed is by the brand Patio, and it's the 8x6 size. Once all the sides are kicked in, you secure it with this metal bracket to keep everything tight in place. Now that the bones of the shed are built, Nick's gonna move it to where we want it in the yard so we can start drawing out the path leading to it. We put it on this side of the yard because this side gets the most sun, and this is also where our garden's gonna be, so it just makes the most sense to have it on this side.
Lonesome dove, folded on the lawn chair in all the colors.
So now we're gonna start drawing out the path that's leading to the shed. We're using a hose to help guide the outer edges of the path so we're not just completely winging it when we trace it out. I'm using a white spray paint to trace the hose all the way to the shed, and I'm just repeating that process all the way back. For the corners, we used a 4-foot level as a guide to keep everything even, and this worked great to follow along the whole path because we made this path the same width as the shed doors, which is about 4 feet wide. The level is also 4 feet wide, so this was a great kind of guide to make sure the path was even all the way around. I'm also tracing out the shed and leaving about 6 inches on each side of the shed just so we have enough room for the gravel to be fully leveled out. Now we're gonna use this edger/trencher to cut along the white lines. This is a cool little machine that just cuts down the middle of grass, super smooth and easy, so we can get a clean line for our path. This thing was definitely worth the small investment for this project because it seriously saved us so much time and effort. Nick traced out the edges with this little machine and then also used it in a grid pattern inside of the path so he could take out the little chunks of grass a lot easier. have it on a level surface, so we're taking all the grass out that's in our rectangle that we traced, and we're raking the dirt smooth and removing any excess dirt as well. We're now adding a weed barrier on top of the sand so we don't get any unwanted plants growing through the bottom of the shed. You're supposed to secure this down with some stakes, but honestly, we just got lazy and just used the pea gravel that we were using as a weight to hold down the tarps. And we clearly didn't get enough gravel here, so we're definitely gonna need to get a few more bags, but I mean, we might as well keep working because we have a lot more work to do. So let's get to making our cobblestone path. Nick is using this landscape edging to make a boundary for the cement and rocks that we're using to make this whole path. This was super easy to install, and it's bendable plastic, so it's way more safe than those metal ones. Our dogs always tend to cut themselves, like their paws, on the metal ones if we ever have those in our yard. So we always opt for a more safer plasticky option like these. These are also way shorter in size, so it hides in the grass better, so you can really barely even see it, which I like a lot. Now we're gonna make a little paste to help keep all the cobblestones in place. We're using a mixture of Quikrete concrete mix, sand, and water for this. You wanna make sure it's pasty, but not too wet, because then the concrete might stain the rocks, and that is not what we want.
Shape you're in from time to time. I just wanna see your shadow next to mine.
Also, you guys, please wear gloves while you are working with concrete. I genuinely had no idea that it was so toxic for your skin, and I was handling it like it was sand, and I was just playing with the dirt. I just guess it went completely in over my head that you're not supposed to touch concrete with your hands. I ended up getting chemical burns on some of my fingers, and after a few days of working with this stuff, and after looking it up, what do you know? Concrete is not just dirt, and it should not be touched. So don't make my mistake, and please wear gloves. My hands are totally fine now, by the way. We actually got all of these cobblestones from our yard. These were already in our yard already, so that part was completely free for us. And we ended up using about 10 bags of concrete total, which are about $5 to $6 per bag. Considering that this path in total is 200 square feet, and we did it for less than $100, I feel like that is super good. And although it takes some time and is tedious, I love the way it looks, and it's just a great affordable option that adds a lot of character.
Baby, you know I just like to talk with you. I just wanna go out on a walk with you, baby.
I'm mixing some mortar and concrete to pour over the top, and I'm just pouring this dry over the cobblestones that we've already done. Most of these are secure, but there are a couple here and there that slide around, and the mortar in this is what really is going to make everything stick and really secure. I'm also doing this because I wanted a little bit more thickness within the rocks, so it's a little bit easier to walk on, so the heights aren't as irregular, if that makes sense. So I wanted to fill in the gaps a little bit more, so that's why I mixed it with concrete too, just so we can get more of a thickness to it. But the mortar is what is really going to make everything stick, make it hard, and make the rock stay in place without wobbling. I poured this over dry, and then I started wiping off the mortar off of each rock individually with a sponge. Then I realized that I didn't want to do that. That was going to take way too long for me, and I didn't have the patience for it. So I decided to just get my watering can and sprinkle some water over the rocks, and that actually worked really well to take all of the mortar off of the rocks and just get the mortar beside the rocks wet, which is exactly what I wanted. You're supposed to mix up this mortar before putting it down. You're not supposed to do it dry, but I just thought it would be easiest this way, and it was. It was definitely easiest this way. I would say next time, if I were to do this again, I wouldn't mix it with concrete at all, because the concrete has pieces of pea gravel, and the mortar is like fine, really thin, sandy. It's not chunky at all. So the pea gravel definitely stands out of the fine mortar, and it kind of makes it like a little bit rocky. So I feel like it would have been perfect if I didn't mix it. It would have been like very smooth with the cobblestones over it, and I think I would have liked that a little bit better rather than having some little bits and pieces of pea gravel stuck here and there in between the grout. You live and you learn. That is just something that I learned. If I were to do that again, I would just put mortar, dry mortar on top, and that's it.
Now let's finish building this patio well shed. I love the design of this guy. It's an off-white grayish color. Super, super pretty. And the vertical paneling of it matches our house great. I love it. The roof was easy to put on too. There's a few parts like the roof and the doors that require 2 people, but I mean, it can mostly be installed just with 1 person. The last thing we're gonna do today is start planting our garden because I would love for our veggies and herbs to be ready to harvest by the fall. We're starting with 2 garden beds here, but we plan to add more down the path just as time goes on, but 2 is plenty for now. 1 box I'm using for herbs and the other I'm using for veggies and some fruit as well. We got these raised planter beds from Amazon and they were pretty affordable, really easy to set up, and we calculated out the price and it was the same price to just get this planter bed than it would have been if we were to purchase the lumber and build it ourselves. So we figured might as well just get this and follow the directions while building it, which made it a lot easier. I'm using fresh potting soil to fill the beds up first, and then I'll plant everything and add even more fresh soil to any sparse areas that need it.
I've always loved the idea of adding a swing in the garden. I think it'd be nice to sit outside, listen to the birds, read a book, watch the kids play, but I don't love the look of your typical garden swing. I feel like it can look a little cheap and out of place in a backyard. So we are actually going to DIY our own little swing that actually matches the aesthetic of our home. It's going to be built in and also built with the same materials that we're using for other aspects of our home, so it really flows with the rest of the yard. Nick is building the garden arbor that's a beautiful white color, and we're going to hang this wooden swing on it. Both of these pieces are from Lowe's and they are very affordable, which is the main reason why we chose these pieces, and also because the width of the swing fits almost perfectly into this garden arbor. We decided to mount the swing in the corner of our yard so we can look out on the grass, the garden, and the patio. And the arbor comes with clear instructions on how to mount it into the ground, either permanently or temporarily. You can choose which one you want to do. And you pretty much just dig a hole that's 16 inches in the ground, and then you can fill it with either soil if you want it to be temporary, or if you want to go the more permanent route like we chose, you can use the Quikrete concrete mix. And we already had some of that left over from our garden path, so we chose to just dig 4 holes and use the Quikrete concrete mix inside of the holes to mount the entire arbor. And now it is so sturdy, we don't have to worry about it flying around or going anywhere. I'm tracing out another path on the outer edge of the path that we have now, and this is where we're gonna put all of our plants. And I really want to surround most of the path with plants, so it feels enclosed almost. It feels a little bit more secretive, and so the whole path just looks better. I don't want to have to mow in between every single plant that we're planting, so we are going to take out this grass so we can replace it with soil and start planting all of our plants there. Eventually, I want this little part to be so filled up that you can't see the soil at all. So I want to incorporate a whole bunch of ground cover plants so there's no dirt showing. I want as much vegetation and foliage as possible. Now we're gonna start building this little fountain area. So this guy is from Lowe's. It is a stone-like material in a charcoal color. I love the modern yet natural look of this guy. It comes with all the pebbles too, and it is so easy to set up. You pretty much just take it right out of the box and it's good to go. I really want this water fountain to be a statement, but not the center of attention. So I'm gonna give it its own little moment in this garden bed area and then have other plants and foliage surrounding it. Planting a variety of different perennials that are supposed to survive throughout the winters in Colorado. Definitely keep you guys updated and let you know what survives and what doesn't. I'm very curious to know too, but I also wanted to get a mix of evergreens because I know some of these will go dormant in the winter and all of their leaves will fall off and they're gonna look dead. But I do like to still have green in my backyard, even in the winter time. So I made sure that some of these plants are evergreen plants so they can actually stay alive and green throughout the winter. Okay guys, I'm not gonna lie, the color of this shed is throwing me off a little bit, so we are gonna change it. We are completely making this shed over. So we did 2 coats of primer and then 2 coats of paint on top. And we also used exterior paint as well. We also got the paint from Lowe's as well, of course, where else? We chose the color Pure White by Sherwin-Williams because that's the same color as our house is painted, so I wanted it to match and kind of bounce off with each other. And for the doors, we're gonna paint it this green color. I can't remember off the top of my head what it's called, but I will leave it down below the exact color that we used. But it's the same color as the front door on our house, so I feel like it really matches and bounces off and ties together really well, and is also just giving that pop of color that it was missing. I love the bright white with the sage green. I love how this turned out, and it matches our house, so it's all the better. This was definitely the way to go. I am so glad that we painted the shed because it definitely made the biggest difference.
Brimstone bombshell. When a good boy took his fire pills, living in a spooky time.
So the shed comes with a little window on the left side, but the shed is on the left side of our yard, so the right side of the shed is what is shown. So I wanted to add a little bit of character to the right side of the shed. So I recently thrifted this vintage window frame. It's white, it has some distressing to it, but it also has some character because it is an older, more rustic piece. So I'm going to add some faux window panes with some wood scraps that I found in my garage. And then I'm gonna add even more character with some dried florals. So I'm using Mod Podge and some dried florals. Some of these dried florals I got online and some of them are actually from my garden, but I am just using Mod Podge, which is basically a glue that dries totally clear. And this is also gonna act as a top coat to protect the dried florals on here as well. So I know it looks a little overwhelming when you're putting it on, but I just worked in layers. So I did one layer, let that dry, and then put more florals over the top of that until I got the exact look that I wanted. And I love how it turned out. We put this in the middle of our shed on the side and it makes the perfect statement. I love it so much. We also added these shutters to either side of the window and we painted it that same green color as our door to tie in that side even more.
I met a wild companion. I got a new cannon. I found gold in the ashtray.
Heading back to the swing now, Nick is gonna finish the little landing pad underneath the swing. We're gonna do the same technique, the same cobblestone technique that we did for the path. One, because it's cheap, we already have all the materials, we might as well. And two, because it matches and it's gonna tie everything together. This is in the corner of the yard, so having cobblestones over here and also the cobblestone path on the other side, it's all gonna tie together and just look a lot more cohesive. So we did that cobblestone technique for the middle little landing pad. And then on the outer sides, there's a trellis. So we saved some room to plant a climbing plant. We planted some honeysuckle here, which is supposed to grow really fast. I will keep you guys updated on how this grows, but hopefully by this time next year maybe, or the year after, this will be completely overgrown and this white trellis will be a beautiful green trellis with honeysuckle flowers all over it. I cannot wait. I'm adding these two hooks to the ground and I'm just gonna add some wind chimes. I recently got this from California at a little local shop that I went to in Carmel. Super, super cute. I love the aesthetic of them. They chime so beautifully. I love the sound. I'm also adding this little woven birdhouse sort of thing to the next hook. And then on the other side, I'm gonna add a bird feeder and another little woven birdhouse to add some symmetry to both sides. I'm adding some planter boxes to the garden shed doors because I feel like they were feeling a little bit bland and I just wanted to add some greenery to the middle part of the path. I think this kind of ties everything together and I love the way it looks. I love the color that it adds. I think it looks perfect like this. We have worked so hard on this whole backyard for months now. Let me remind you where we started with this yard. First of all, a few years ago, this whole yard was nothing but a big pile of dirt. And then the year after that, we landscaped, but we very quickly regretted that because we got so much grass that we just didn't even know how to handle it. We couldn't take care of it. We didn't even know what to do with ourselves. So that is why we decided to cut into the grass and make our own little garden. After lots and lots of work, here is our new backyard. grateful that 50,000 of you decided to stick around and subscribe to my channel. You guys are just the best, and I thank you so much for supporting my channel and for just being here and just watching my videos. Giving back to you honestly feels like the least I can do right now, and I really, really wish I could give back to every single one of you, and my hope is one day I will be able to do that. But for now, this is the best I can do. I'm going to gift a handful of you guys gift cards to your favorite home decor and furnishing shop. Each winner will be able to pick where they would like the gift card to be from. That way everyone can have a chance to win in this giveaway, even those that live outside of the US. All you have to do to enter is be subscribed, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment using a pink flower emoji in it on this video. Each comment equals 1 entry, so feel free to enter as many times as you want for any extra entries. I'll randomly be selecting the winners at the end of the week. Good luck everyone, and thanks for watching today. I'll see you in a few days in a new video. Bye guys.